Thank you, everybody. That was some graduation procession. Let's have it for the class of C19. Good evening and welcome to the 16th Putnam Valley Commencement Exercise. Please remain standing for the Star-Spangled Banner sung by our 2019 mixed choir members under the direction of Dr. Gerard Macera.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free, and the home of the brave, home of the brave.
Thank you for that beautiful rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner. Please be seated. Again, I'd like to welcome everybody. Welcome to our Board of Education members, Dr. Wills, Dr. Luft, fellow administrators, esteemed faculty and staff, parents, and our 2019 graduates. This has been a very difficult year for your class. As a group, you have faced unspeakable heartbreak with the passing of your dear friend Elias. And now, with two of your peers in the hospital, you continue to deal with challenging situations that shake you to the core. However, these events have brought you together and solidified friendships and bonds that can never be broken. When I spoke to Elias's mother today, we discussed how Elias would want us to celebrate, and if he were here, he would probably be blowing up a beach ball in the background saying, "Sorry, Miss Entreri," with a sweet smile on his face. I am also very sure that we want everyone to be joyous today and focus on the shared good times and all that everyone has accomplished over the past 4 years. And after 6 days of rain, the sun is finally shining just in time for this ceremony to celebrate all of you. I couldn't be more honored to deliver these opening remarks, as you were my very first class at Putnam Valley High School, making you very unique. 4 years ago, we came together to the high school full of excitement for the future and full of apprehension of not knowing what lay ahead. You were the only ones who remember the old senior lounge, the 5-period lunch day, and the very first freshman foundations. Some of you have even reminded me that you even recall my almost catastrophic fall on the hoverboard outside the cafeteria the first year. You have been there through all the monumental moments. You played key parts in my very first TheaterWorks production of Death of a Salesman and amazed me with your musical talent in Carmen Burana. You've had tremendous success in athletics with multiple league championships in several sports, as well as New York State PV send-offs for wrestling and cheerleading. I owe your class a debt of gratitude for all that you've done to contribute to our school. We have Elena to thank for the therapy dogs coming to our school every month. Your class of science researchers put PVHS science research on the map. You were there for big events such as the unveiling of the new Tiger mascot with Alex Sirico in the tiger suit. To this day, I don't know how he ran around the gym in that hot suit high-fiving the crowd. He was the best. And I'm not sure what it's going to be like to see a band concert next year without Matt and Sarah in the percussion section. I've always known them to be the strong, reliable foundation for the group, keeping the steady beat in the background, much like what your class has done for the whole school. I'm also not sure what I'm going to do if my parking spot ever begins to fade or peel. Jackie Vaccaro painted that tiger for me when she was just in 9th grade, and it still looks amazing. Your unique class has been part of the fabric that has woven our school together, providing stability and a foundation for every class that has followed you. Being together for 4 years has enabled us to share more special moments than I can remember. I will never forget your athleticism with that famous basketball pass from John Milliker to Ryan Soto, where it seemed like Ryan jumped 10 feet in the air to catch it. Or Jackie Phillips and I screaming over the deer carcass in the grass. Or conversations with Mel or Isabella about life. Or Tommy gently knocking on my door so we could catch up and chat about the day's events. Adam's daily smile. Or TJ knowing that beating Dobbs Ferry in any sport would make me very, very happy. Yes, your class stands out with many special moments because we've been able to spend these 4 years together. And while the past few weeks have been filled with bittersweet goodbyes, Sonia reminded me with her yearbook quote, "Endings are not bad things. They just mean that something else is about to begin." And you are about to begin a new phase of your life with exciting opportunities. My best advice to you as you move on to this new journey in this era of social media where everyone has an opinion is be true to yourself. Turn out the naysayers or those that tear you down. Listen to your own inner voice and don't be afraid to forge your own way as an actress, a teacher, a dog whisperer, an electrician, or whatever you choose to be, even if it doesn't agree with all the advice you have been given. Don't be afraid to disappoint someone because you are choosing your own path. Yes, this takes courage, but people often say as they get older, what they regret most is that they did not live a life that reflected their own individual uniqueness. You need to feed your own heart by giving your passions your time and your energy. Many of you had to write letters to your future self with Mr. Zupan. Thinking about that experience, I want you to take a moment and reflect on your life ahead in 2 different ways. First, imagine living your life where you have fulfilled all of your dreams and then having a conversation with your past self. What are you telling them? How do you feel when you think about fulfilling all those dreams? Next, imagine living your life without pursuing your own very unique talents. How are you explaining that decision to your past self? Yes, everyone will face obstacles and challenges that could deter them. As you have already discovered, the road ahead is not predictable. But you have all overcome so much already, and you now know that you have the inner strength to accomplish anything. Plus, based on your 4 years here at PVHS, you've picked up some skills to help you in your journey. Through the participation in the History Club, you learned that a little savings through popcorn sales adds up to meet a big goal. In the archery unit in phys ed, you learned that focus and practice helps you hit the target every time. In film class, you learned how to raise the stakes to get everyone's attention. And just in case you need to start a revolution, in humanities, you learned the importance of protesting and voicing your own opinion. And by the way, thank you very much for not walking out over the paninis in September. And finally, through Color Wars, you learned how to work together over the years for a common goal of triumphant victory senior year. You've made memories and you have left lasting impressions at this school. As you go forward in life, you will be faced with many choices and many twists and turns. My hope for your future is that you continue to be the strong, kind, and thoughtful individuals that you already are, and take brave steps to make all the difference in your own life and those of everyone around you. You all have what it takes to live a meaningful life with passion and purpose. And though you will be eager to go out and start a new adventure, never forget that as we affirmed this year, we are family. As many of you stated in the past few weeks, it's going to be difficult to say goodbye. So I'm not going to say goodbye today. I'm going to end these remarks in a different way and turn over the microphone to members of your own class, Casey, Gavin, and Kira, to sing a song that will always make me think of our special time together and all the unique moments we've shared.
Check the guitar. affection.
For people and things that went before. I
No, I'll often stop and think about them.
my life, I've loved you more.
No, I'll never lose affection.
For people and things that went before.
No, I'll often stop and think about them.
My life, I loved you more. In my life, I've loved you more.
Let's have one more round of applause. It's a little difficult when the principal puts you under pressure to sing at graduation. You guys were fabulous. And now, before our next speaker, I just want to take the opportunity, if Dr. Wills could come up, we have something special for her. As everyone knows, Dr. Wills is retiring. This is her last PVHS graduation, and we want to thank her for all she's done for not just the district and the children of the district, but all she supported at the high school, from the science research program to adding in French to supporting every initiative that we've taken on, bringing in the one-act plays. She's been just a fabulous, fabulous mentor to me, and we want to wish her all the best in her retirement. We have a little picture here, and we have Violet. I'll put you by the seat for you.
So before Sandy sits down, Dr. Intrieri, I have to say something about your principal. How fortunate you are to have a principal who cares so much about each and every one of you and believes in the power of education to change lives. So I'd like to take a moment to thank our principal, the principal who brought you into the high school and who sees you out today. Good evening, Putnam Valley, graduates, the Board of Education, family, colleagues, and friends. We're gathered to send our most tender hopes and dreams to you, our 2019 Putnam Valley graduates, as you celebrate an American milestone, the ceremonial launch into adulthood. The message of triumph is tinged with some apprehension, even fear and uncertainty, as we know that life's paths are not usually groomed cleanly, like the Swiss hiking trails. Rather, there are ruts and obstacles in plain view and hidden in the underbrush that require navigation skills, courage, and most of all, the commitment to many possible ways forward. Often I am asked why I use the word opportunity so frequently. I like the origin of the word. Its etymology is from Latin, meaning way toward the port or toward the door. Creating opportunities opens doors, and successful transport to those doors will depend on how we address the obstacles and maintain the hopefulness that guides our way. The hopefulness lives in our relationships with others. Tonight, my husband is here for the first time at a graduation. My husband, Tom, has been my hope and my hopefulness, and I would like to introduce him to all of you. Hopefulness lives in these relationships, our connectedness with family, friends, teachers, colleagues, mentors, spiritual guides, and counselors, and our willingness to reach out, to search for those teachers and counselors, to love and be loved. Hope is an emotional dimension. It lives in our hearts. While we can work to solve problems cognitively and intellectually, our hopefulness and optimism lives in our heart space, and that is only filled through connecting to others and with others. We all need someone to turn to. That someone is not a social media gif. That someone is flesh and blood and holds us tight when we're in pain and as we seek the next step on the journey. Last week, the seniors walked through the elementary school and greeted their former teachers with carnations and hugs, with a welling up of communion from teacher and student. The beauty of that moment is written not in words, but in tears of joy and meaning. Teachers know in these moments that their work is sacred because it inspires and provides a guide to navigating the obstacles, the darker places, the new places. So when Joe Adona offered his hand to me to walk beside the seniors, I was moved to an emotional place far transcending other moments in this last year at Putnam Valley. This senior class has given us many such moments of joyful connection. Jackie Pedotti's one-act play, The Automat Sphere, the theme, a woman liberating herself from a relationship that was comfortable but required her to be less than her best self. The actors Gavin Mitchell and Jackie Pedotti in that play. Darnell's 1000th Point, a moment that acknowledged his skill, discipline, and perseverance. Sarah and Dora's remarkable groundbreaking science research discoveries and awards at the highest level. Casey Dath at the piano. Ratu's continuing persistence in science research and in his studies. Kira and Gavin singing with Arcadian Wild. Many more of these sparks of light brighten the pathways and carry us forward with hope and possibility. Schools are about learning to think, to reason, to write, to speak, and to sing. They are also places to practice community and learn healthy and fruitful ways to listen, appreciate, respect, and care about others who may appear to be different, but are in fact a member of our same tapestry, the human family. In school, we have a place to establish new foundations for our emotional lives. Our schools are the laboratories where the purpose that gives meaning to our lives may be shaped, and the stage where our sense of agency and confidence that we can make a difference is encouraged and given voice. I have learned that when purpose and agency merge to become gifts of life and connection with others, we find our best selves and happiness that transcends any material reward. The home I share with my husband Tom sits adjacent to the aqueduct path that leads to the Croton Dam. We walk the path frequently, and each time we follow, there is something new to observe that calls our attention. For example, the last time we walked the path, we spotted an almost hidden, camouflaged, enormous snapping turtle struggling to get to the river. It was clearly quite old and had been injured. We were in awe as we calculated its weight and probable age. We couldn't help the turtle move, but we left some food and hoped it would make it. When we came back later on with water, it was gone. We imagined that the turtle made it to water and was safe. We want to believe that just as we want to believe that every graduate here will find a safe and loving home for their lives in their careers, their families, their aspirations. We want them each of you, to be hopeful always, with lives well lived, and most of all, loving and beloved. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wills, for your many years of service again to the students of Putnam Valley. I'd now like to introduce Janine Rufo, our President of the Board of Education.
All right, you really should listen because there is such a theme in these three speeches, and we did not collaborate. So, good evening. It is always an honor to speak at graduation on behalf of the Board of Education. Graduation is the celebration and culminating event of every decision and action that the board takes on behalf of students from kindergarten through high school. In some ways, it is our end game. The saga of your journey in the Putnam Valley schools has come to an end. This particular part of your story is over. However, just like Endgame in the MCU, and for those of you not comic book nerds, that's Marvel Cinematic Universe, you are now set up to take your stories in countless directions and possibilities. I believe that the role of a school district is to provide students with the tools, the passions, and the confidence they need to continually write and rewrite the stories of their lives to meet the demands and the opportunities that life will put in front of you all. Tonight, I look out at the young men and women that sit before me, and I reflect on their years in Putnam Valley, and particularly their last year, and know with certainty that we have done our jobs as a district and as a community. How can I be so sure that they are prepared? Because this is a class that has learned that life begins at the end of their comfort zone. Think back to August 2006, when many of you waited in front of this building for the kindergarten bus run that would bring you to your new chapter, kindergarten, big kid school. Many of you were more than ready for that part of your story to begin. Maybe you had been watching older brothers, sisters, cousins, or neighbors go off excitedly to their schools, and you couldn't wait for your turn. Maybe some of you, on the other hand, kind of liked your story of being at home with mom and dad alone, or whoever spent your whole day taking care of you, and that seemed like a great way to continue. Your families were probably all thinking the exact same thoughts they are thinking today. Are they ready? But it is the same thing. We talk about being kindergarten ready, and we talk about being college and life ready. But it is the same thing. Both involve being willing to step to the edge of and over your comfort zones and meet the opportunities that life puts in front of you. And there have been many, many times when you will have taken the step, and sometimes the leap, over the edge of your comfort zones. You stepped out of your comfort zone the first time you raised your hand to read out loud in class, or picked up a lacrosse stick, or a basketball, or tried out for the school play, or threw yourself across the floor for your first tumbling exercise, or decided to see what kind of dancer or singer you could be, or took on science research projects that I can't pronounce, let alone understand, or decided to plan an assembly for your entire school. I could spend all night listing your accomplishments, and you met incredible successes in so many of these activities so much of the time. We all watched and celebrated your successes with you and stood in amazement at joy at all you could do. But I know that I speak for everyone here when I say that we stood in even more amazement when we watched you cope with your disappointments or personal crises, or even the unthinkable tragedies you had to cope with, including the loss of a classmate and a teacher in the same year. But you more than coped. You kept your hearts open and your heads held high. You handled disappointments and tremendous loss with exceptional dignity and grace, and you did it because you've discovered the secret of life. What is the secret of life, you may ask? And how do I know what the secret of life is? Well, first of all, I am very wise. I received a reminder this week in the mail that I graduated from high school 40 years ago this month. I can't believe I just said that out loud. But what's ironic, that over the past 40 years, I have realized that I already knew everything I needed to know as I was graduating high school. I just didn't know it. I know you parents are all thinking, don't tell them that. They already think they know everything. But what they really know, and may not realize it yet, which is why I'm telling you, is that the secret of life is the ability to form connections. the ability to form connections with another person or groups of people, or a passion or an interest, or a career. We have all heard of the African proverb, "It takes a village," that speaks to the need for cooperation and connection and support. But another African proverb that I like even more is that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Over the past 4 years, we have watched you as a class come together and form connections with each other and with your community during the times of joy and success and during the time of loss and sadness. In fact, that leads me to the second part of the secret of life. It's not quite so easy. You cannot form truly strong, authentic connections with anyone or anything unless you are willing to let yourself be seen, really, really seen. In other words, to allow yourself to be vulnerable and put yourself out there in life wholeheartedly. The reason so many adults have trouble letting themselves be vulnerable is because so many of us get stuck in the thought loop that we are not enough. What I hope that we need more knowledge, more skills, more something else to achieve all we want. What I hope that each and every one of you walks away tonight truly believing is that you are enough. Maya Angelou once said that the only walls that exist are the ones that we put up ourselves. In some office or hallway in the high school, I don't remember where, there's a poster that says, "Doubt is the enemy of success." The greatest gift you can give yourself for graduation today is the gift of believing in yourself. I have often heard the quote, "The more we believe in our ability to succeed, the more it is likely that we will." We are who we are. We can't change that. Whether you try or not to hide or not, the world sees you. But we can change our actions and our responses. Most importantly, we can decide to live life wholeheartedly. Yes, there will be disappointments. But sometimes those disappointments come because we think others will doubt us. What I have discovered in the past 40 years since my high school graduation is that when you live wholeheartedly, your whole hearts will meet the whole hearts of others, and connections will be made that will strengthen and move you forward. As Dr. Entreri said, you are not the only ones leaving Putnam Valley Schools this month. As you know, Dr. Fran Wills is retiring and leaving to write the next chapter in her story as you write yours. You could not have a better role model in how to live life wholeheartedly. In fact, at her recent retirement party, someone described Dr. Wills as a person with wholehearted moral courage. My wish for all of you is that you let that be Dr. Wills' legacy to you. I have been listening to Brene Brown, researcher, storyteller, and inspirational speaker a lot lately. And she has one quote that really resonates with me, and I hope you let it speak with you. Choose courage over coverage. Choose whole hearts over armor. And choose the great adventure of being brave and afraid at the exact same time. I want to thank Dr. Wills and all of you for letting me and all of us here tonight be a part of your story. Enjoy the next chapters. Write and live them well.
We will now have our musical offering, Omnia Soul. We will now have our musical offering, Omnia Soul.
Somewhere far from nowhere, like we both strong and tall, longing to become, but knowing not the path.
Thank you, Dr. Massera, and our mixed choir. They were fabulous. I would now like to welcome our student speaker, Samuel Jaffe.
I did not know I was going first, so I'll try and get right into it. Today is a day that has been coming for 4 years since we set foot in a high school. Today is also the ending of a 4-year journey. Knowing you're close to the end is a kind of freedom, a good time to take inventory. Good time to reflect on the journey we all took. Students sitting in their chairs now, alumni returning, teachers and parents sitting in the bleachers. We all took this 4-year journey. We all sat in desks pointing towards a knowledge we didn't yet know. We all came to school 5 days a week for 7 hours or more, for 10 out of 12 months of the year, for 4 years. And what did we learn? Lessons. But not lessons like how to calculate the flow rate of water through a 2-inch diameter pipe moving at 200 meters clockwise through the Martian atmosphere. Or, why is the chair yellow? But lessons our teachers taught us in between the words of the curriculum they were designated to teach. Through all the muck of education, the politics, the mandated testing, whether Common Core is good or bad, through all of it, each of our teachers still taught us the important things that guide each of us to a life of success and happiness. However, no one can care more about you than you, and that works both ways. You see, no matter how hard our teachers, family, and friends try to get us to our dreams, they cannot give our dreams to us. They can only give us the know-how to acquire them. Only you can give yourself the dream you've always wanted. Only you can make your wildest fantasy a reality. And only if you have the will, determination, and motivation to turn your thoughts into a tangible imprint in the world can you give yourself your dream. It is not an easy task to do, and will often come with many sacrifices and failures. But it is okay to lose, and it is okay to fail. These are only the things that make us grow to be better people. In fact, it is part of the journey we all take in our lives, as well as in this 4-year journey we call high school. When I look back at my 4 years at this school, I do so with a bittersweetness. I do this because in a place full of people who want to see me be the best I can be, I chose not to at times. When I was unprepared for the next topic, next class, next life-changing event, I still arrived unprepared. But not because the people who were there to help me weren't there, but because I chose not to take their help. I chose to be unprepared for a large portion of my time at this school. And because of my choices, I lost opportunities and failed to be my best. And I regret this. But knowing what I know now, I would not change any of my choices in the last 4 years because of the lessons I have learned. The lessons I learned have molded me into the person you see speaking into this mic. Hopefully from this speech, some have learned a lesson for themselves, and I hope those few apply it. I hope I have taught some of you today. Lastly, I would like to leave this podium with some parting words of wisdom for the graduating class as they embark onto their next journey. Going forward from today, you may be excited, scared, or even feeling calm, and no feeling is more right or wrong than the other. But whichever way you go forward from today, do not become complacent. Always be doing something that brings you closer to where you want to be tomorrow or 20 years from now. Know where you want to go. There will be obstacles in the way sometimes. Do not let those block you. Do not become complacent then. At times it will seem like you cannot move forward. Do not become complacent then. There will be moments when you will think you are not ready for what is coming ahead. Do not become complacent then. If I have learned anything from the past 4 years, it is that you will never be ready for anything in your life, but you are ready for it right now. And anything life throws at you is simply something you can throw back at it. Thank you. Thank you to my classmates. Thank you to my teachers. Thank you to my friends. Thank you to my mom, my dad, my brother, my family. Thank you for enduring this speech. And for those graduating now, safe travels to whatever it is you seek.
Thank you, Sam. Now I would like to call up Ili Mariki, the class president, for his speech.
Good evening, fellow graduates, friends, family, staff, school board members, and administrators. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what? Before I start this speech, I just want to take a moment to recognize how good looking this class is. This is the best looking class Putnam Valley has ever had. Tonight is a celebration. We celebrate not only the past 4 years, but also the significant turning point in our lives. We are graduating from high school. This is real. We are all moving on to the next chapter of our lives. It really is unbelievable. It feels like just yesterday I was a young freshman getting convinced that there's a swimming pool on the roof of this high school. There is no pool on the roof, but to any incoming freshmen here tonight, you should know Mrs. Intreri has a hot tub in her office. To the class of 2019, I want you to think about something. Most of us have known each other since kindergarten. We have eaten together, played together, studied together, goofed off together. We have laughed, we have cried. Through thick and thin, we have always been one big family. My vision of this big Putnam Valley family was further reinforced after the passing of our dear friend and classmate, Elias Knapp. Everyone in the Putnam Valley community came together to support each other. A few days after Elias had passed away, while driving around the town, I began to notice blue lights coming from dozens of houses. The more blue lights I saw, the more I felt how big of a family Putnam Valley is. These lights resembled Elias' spirit and bright blue eyes. I always knew Putnam Valley was a tight-knit community, but I hadn't truly seen the connection and support people have for each other until then. That sense of community and family will be missed. It is now time for this family to split up, to go out into the world to do amazing things. But let us always remember where we started. Let us not forget that Putnam Valley High School is and always will be our foundation. What we did these last 4 years and who we have become will stay with us for the rest of our lives. Our experiences as kids, how we treated each other, how we dealt with tragedy, how we dealt with the victories and the losses. These things have molded our character. We may be turning the page to a new chapter of our lives, but who we are at our core, that all started here in Putnam Valley. Let's appreciate that. Let's always cherish the memories that we made here. In closing, since every moment in our lives shapes who we are, I ask you all, be sure to seize every moment we have. Let's not take time for granted because time for us is not infinite. 4 years went by in the blink of an eye, and they say time flies by even faster after high school. So take advantage of every single opportunity you get. Take risks, be bold, be happy, and never doubt yourself. God bless America. Rov Shukriya. God, congratulations to the class of 2019.
I would now like to introduce our 2019 salutatorian, Dora Rippon.
All right. Hi. I based my speech off a quote from my favorite author, Marcus Zuzak. He wrote The Book Thief. It goes, usually we walk around constantly believing ourselves, but sometimes the truth arrives on you and you can't get it off. That's when you realize that sometimes the truth isn't even an answer. It's a question. Even now, I wonder how much of my life is convinced. Okay, this wasn't the updated speech. All right. I guess I'll just try and think about what I said then. Okay. Yeah, just read it off the phone.
Let's see if we can get it out here.
Yeah. I probably have it. Sorry. Okay, I have that. Thank
You got it?
Yeah. I got it.
Take it there?
Yeah. Thank you. All right. Okay. So the end of the quote was, "Even now, I wonder how much of my life is convinced." That question struck me. How much of my life is convinced? Just asking the question made me realize that we can be convinced of certain ideas. Not only can other people persuade you, but you can do it all by yourself. Your thoughts fall down the rabbit hole. It starts with what I call as the given. For example, in mathematical proofs, they say, given this, then that must be true. The given is hypothetical in this situation, but many times the given is taught as a fact. Then this given is built upon and used as justification for further ideas. When the given is not questioned, it leads to a convinced state of mind. This unquestioned given is the unstable ground that causes you to fall down the rabbit hole. Now, not all convictions are bad. I'm not going to touch a hot stove because I'm certain it will hurt. But what if you're convinced of a career choice? About 30% of students enroll in college as undecided. About 75% of students will change their major before graduating. I bet many of those students were certain of their major going in, only to change it a couple years later. In fact, when I applied to college, I wanted to do something specifically with astrophysics. 6 months later, I'm leaning towards a career as a data scientist. I convinced myself to major in astrophysics because I thought I should major in the most interesting topic I learned in high school. That was my given. Eventually, I realized I may be more interested in fields that I haven't learned about yet. Luckily, the change from an astrophysics major to a physics major is not very difficult. Even if you're not going to college, all of us are going to continue learning. I think it's important to be aware if you are a passive learner or an active learner. Passive learners memorize the content given, while active learners question the content given. I can't tell you how you want to approach life, but I believe it's important to be aware if you question the content given. If you want to memorize and recite content to get through college, just be aware if you have little idea of the truth in that content. As Mr. Scampoli so lightly pointed out for us, we're all going to change. We may find ourselves thinking that we don't have much faith in the beliefs that we hold very strongly now. I think our lack of a broad perspective causes us to be convinced of alternative beliefs. So then how do you know what you are convinced of and what you are not? I believe you have to continue asking questions of yourself. The questions that you can't seem to shake off may reveal some truth. When you can't answer a pressing question, it is ironically with good reason to trust your instincts. Intuition is immediately knowing how to act without needing to think it through. We are certain of the knowledge that intuition provides, yet we never have to convince ourselves of it. So remember to be wary that you might be convinced of some ideas, but don't take my word for it. I wouldn't want to convince you of anything. Thank you.
Let's hear it again for Dora. It's not easy to stand up here, let alone to not have your speech. And thank you, Mr. Lathrop, for saving the day, showing, of course, how much our teachers care and are always ready to be supportive. With that, I'd like to call up our 2019 valedictorian, Sarah Broas.
Good evening, families, teachers, administrators, board members, supporters, and most importantly, the members of the class of 2019. While I thank Dr. Entreri for that kind introduction, for reasons that will soon become clear, I would like to take this opportunity to reintroduce myself. That being said, hi, my name is Sarah Bross. My favorite color is green. I absolutely love dogs, and you can commonly find me folding origami cranes just for fun. When I first realized I was responsible for delivering a speech at graduation, I had absolutely no idea what I should talk about. Over the past couple of months, I can assure you that hasn't changed. I still have had no grand epiphanies, no visits from an all-knowing supreme being, and certainly no sustained feeling of confidence surrounding the future. After all, I'm 18, around the same age as most of you. And let me be clear, being good at taking tests does not mean I've got life all figured out. So instead of trying to talk about some amazing lesson that I've learned, I have chosen to talk about something that I and most of you are likely going to encounter in the coming months and years: finding an identity. While I say finding an identity, what I really think I mean is defining an identity. We are all unique and special in our own and valuable ways, and our job in the next couple of years is not to adopt traits and take on jobs, but to find ways to accentuate the things that already make us, us. One of my favorite texts is called Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man, written by a fantastic lunatic known as James Joyce. The novel, which tells the story of finding one's identity, wisely states the following. When the soul of a man is born in this country, there are nets flung at it to hold it back from flight. You talk to me of nationality, language, and religion. I shall try to fly by those nets. What I think Joyce is trying to communicate is that there are great domineering forces that attempt to ensnare wandering adolescents that are trying to figure out their identity. These nets sheath the adolescents, and instead of defining themselves for who they are inside, the young adults define themselves by the net that is wrapped around them. Now, this novel was originally published in 1916. While nationality, language, and religion are still large forces in society, I think that there are some added, more pervasive nets that concern today's youth when attempting to find their identity. Some of these nets that I believe trouble today's world are titles, accomplishments, and accolades. Despite what college applications will try to convince you of, your identity is not determined by your titles, accomplishments, and accolades. You are not an amalgamation of degrees, diplomas, SAT scores, GPA points, or school credits. Likewise, you are not defined by your years of work experience, lack of work experience, or salary. I believe that we are all unique and special, with each of us possessing a character trait or talent that we, in some way, will use to change the world. There are no two people in this world that are completely alike. However, if you define yourself by only your titles, accomplishments, and accolades, you will find that it is nearly impossible to differentiate yourself from everyone else in this world. I got the following facts from David McCullough. As you sit here today, you are one of 3.6 million students graduating from over 37,000 high schools in just the US alone. To put this in perspective, even if you consider yourself to be 1 in a million based on your accomplishments, on our planet of 7 billion people, there are still about 7,000 other people that are versions of you running around. This is not to say that you and I are not special or unique. This is, however, to say that because we are all unique and special, we must be defined by something greater, much more than our activities, titles, and accomplishments. Another one of these great nets that I think we often find ourselves trapped in is the world of social media. I believe that in today's day and age, we have 3 selves. We have the self that we are when we are alone, the self that we are when we are in public, and finally, a virtual self that occupies just social media platforms. This virtual self or avatar that we have created is pretty close to perfect. We consume nothing but kale salads and grande iced sugar-free soy milk extra hot pumpkin spice lattes. We bathe in the sun and fly ourselves like paper-thin kites on the beach. We score nothing but goals and points and have only the best, least conflicted relationships with our parents and siblings. Our virtual lives are unblemished and beautiful. However, this avatar we have created of ourselves is not too far off from a lie. Our real lives are blemished with acne, and we do not look as beautiful while cleaning the bathroom. Contrary to what we often hear, what I think is most dangerous about this lie that we are telling is not that others will believe it, but that we ourselves will. I worry that we come to identify too much with our virtual avatars, just like we do our titles, accomplishments, and accolades. So why am I telling you this? Why is this so important? Today, we are all losing a part of our title, and for most of us, that might mean that we are also losing a part of what we consider to be our identity. We will all go home and delete PVHS Class of 2019 from our Instagram bios. We will very soon no longer be immediately recognized as the smart boy, the star of all the musicals, or the soccer team's star player. And while in order to get into college or apply for a job, we had to spout our titles, accomplishments, and accolades in a futile attempt to describe our identity, when we actually get to college, or wherever you may find yourself, those titles aren't known by all those around you. We have the opportunity to create a new life for ourselves. With this opportunity in mind, I ask you to try not to identify yourself by your online avatar or by someone you were known as in high school. I ask you not to identify yourself by the numerous accomplishments and titles you will all no doubt earn. Instead, I hope that we can take this summer and our coming years to find ourselves, our true selves, so that we may be able to describe ourselves by more than what society labels us. And with that, I say my final goodbye. My name is Sarah Bross, and although I am valedictorian, that is just a title, not my identity. So I'll leave you with a few seemingly stupid but ultimately more informational facts. My favorite color is green. I absolutely love dogs, and I like to fold origami cranes just for fun. Putnam Valley, because of all of you, the world will soon know more than just our names. Thank you, and congratulations to the future change creators and world leaders, the class of 2019.
Thank you, Sarah. And now for the awarding of the diplomas, I'd like to invite Mr. O'Connor, Dr. Wills, the Board of Education to please help me hand out the diplomas.
Should I put on Sandy Shade?
Yeah? Go. With the first row, please rise. Thanks. Luis Alvarez. Sarah Anabi. Dean Appel. Brianna Arpey. Jeremy Aviles. Shireen Barrera. Jonathan Bennett. Dennis Berdicia III. Justin Blanchard. Katarina Bogdan.
Will the next row please rise? Ratu Bolinevalu. Megan Borchik. Travis Brescia. Sarah Bross. Malia Brophy. Carl Burgard. John Burlingham. Carla Campoverde. Danielle Capodisi. Dorothea Capacito.
You may be seated. Would the next row please rise? Ivan Capozito. Chloe Carano. Gianna Carlin. Matthew Carlson. Adam Chekai. Victoria Clemente. Caitlin Cohen. Lucas Colavecchio. Christian Columna. Emily Costantini.
Please be seated. Next row, please rise. Christine Cortman. Rosanna Cruz. Danielle Cunningham. Francis Curran. Gianna Dodona. Joseph Dodona. Casey Death. Alexis Davoli. Isabella Dedvukai. Michael DeMeo.
You may be seated. Would the next row please rise? Francesca DeBulo. Bethany Dolan. Matthew Drinovac. Amnea Elgendi. Zaid El Jamal. Austin Fabiano. Victoria Federico. JC Ferraro. Leah Frankel. Justine Fritz.
Please be seated. Next row, please rise. Sonia Garcia. Paisley Gardner. Charles Gatewood. Rose Gencarelli. Lily Claire Gesson. Christopher Hinin. Jack Goldenberg. Keanu Govea. Christine Grimes. Jenna Grosclose.
You may be seated. With the next row, please rise. Brandon Guerra. Meredith Gutowski. Andrew Hard. Eamon Howley. Megan Hoyt. Kayla Hutschneider. Kimberly Heinman. Mary Ellen Jack. Samuel Jaffe. Skylar Jennings.
Please be seated. Next row, please rise. Joanna Johnson. Naire Jokonia. Albin Kalai. Dustin Koskinen Falls. Bobby Kroboth. Elena Kurtenbach. John Langdon. Julia Leonard. Matthew Latavik. John Listwan. Michael Lopez. Rolando Lopez Ramos.
You may be seated. Would the next row please rise? Sophia Lord. Janine Lyman. Ryan Marsh. Karina Mortarano. Manuel Mari. Jack McCoy. Owen McDonald. Kira McGinty. Catherine McNamara. Joseph Migliaccio.
Please be seated. Next row, please rise. John Milliker. Jillian Mirabal. Gavin Mitchell. Gabriel Moyes. Alexandria Moore. Michael Morera. Ilarian Marici. Andrew Naranjo. Thomas Natoli. Riley Nolan. Alex O'Brien.
Jessica O'Hare. John Orlando. Christopher Palka. Samantha Palmo. Timothy Palmo.
Yuna Park. Isabella Petriarca. Jacqueline Pedoti. Jacqueline Phillips. Alex Pilmanis. Dakota Pinion. Connor Paust. Vanessa Racine. Dora Rippon. Justin Rivas. Matthew Rodriguez.
Olivia Roman. Jillian Rooney. Gianna San Lucas. Emilio Sanchez. Selena Siram. Darnell Shillingford. Matthew Shook. Alexander Sirico. Ryan Soto.
Jenna Staton. Ashley Stockinger. Quinn Strang. Daniel Tavares. Joshua Uchitel. Angie Uribe. Jacqueline Vaccaro. Joseph van der Veerdonk. Annabella Vargas.
Araceli Vidal. Kyle Visaki. Luke Zadrima. Bianca Zhang.
By the virtue of the authority vested upon me by the Putnam Valley Board of Education and the Commissioner of New York State Education, I hereby confirm that these students have satisfactorily completed all requirements for graduation as prescribed by the New York State Department of Education. Congratulations, graduates. This concludes our 2019 graduation commencement exercises. Congratulations, graduates.